Hey, hi.
Hello, sir.
Hi.
So, should we start with the interview?
Okay, we can start it. So, are we waiting for an audience or we just get started with the interview?
Your voice is cracking, so maybe is it issue from my side? I'm not sure. Just a second, sir.
Yeah,
Yeah,
can you
sir.
hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Your voice is just echoing. I think maybe you are just in a closed room. Maybe that's why. It's okay. No worry.
Yeah, as long as you can hear me.
Yeah, a bit of it, but that's okay. No worries. So we should start with the interview. So
Okay.
I'll just introduce myself, sir. So my name is
Yes.
Akansha Gosavi, and I'm currently pursuing MBA from marketing, uh, in marketing from ITM Business School. And as a 15 days internship, we are working with Dorai-Foundation and like interviewing some of the amazing people like you, corporate professionals like you. So welcome, sir. Uh,
Thank you.
First, we would start. We already know a bit about you, but if you could start with introducing yourself first.
So yeah, I take care of the Tamil Nadu and Kerala businesses for Wavemaker, which is part of Group M. Group M is India's largest media planning and buying conglomerate. So we work with top brands in terms of delivering their advertising, marketing, communication to the end audience. Of course, I started off in Bombay. I was there for a few years, and then from Bombay moved to Bangalore and then to Chennai, which is my hometown. So that's where the journey has been. So almost 25 years in the space of marketing communication. So I started off writing copy. I wanted to do something in the creative line. So I started doing copy, and I was writing scripts for documentaries. So I started off, and then of course we were into production of ad films, corporate films, and after that, I moved to Bombay. I did a bit of data and analytics. And then I was taking care of corporate communication. Then moved to hardcore media planning and buying, which is about consumer insights, market understanding, and planning for delivering advertising of different clients to their audience. So that's what I've been doing for the last 15 years now. So that's where I am. Yeah.
So the next question for you is like, when did you decide that you wanted to work in advertising field? Like, did you always want to be here in this field, or you had different career plans and later you like diverted to advertising field?
Uh, I don't know actually. I think the fact that in advertising you don't need to wear formals was the biggest motivator, I guess. So my father was in the uniform service. So I know there is this generation connection or generation disconnection, right? When it happens to following your parents' profession. So for me, I think it was a generational disconnection that happened. So I didn't want to wear uniform. I didn't want to wear formals. So I didn't know what advertising meant to be at that point in time, but generally, the people who were in advertising were these cool sort of people who were wearing jeans and who were not cutting their hair and who were not shaving. So I felt that it's pretty savvy. So I think the initial motivation was that, but then after I started understanding advertising as a space, I think the intellectual part of it, that there is always a better way of doing things. There is just not one way of doing things, and that intellectual stimulation that happened because you never have the right solution in place. That stimulation was what I think inspired me to actually get into advertising and pursue it.
Correct. Uh, so, like, what qualities does a person need to be like successful in this field, like of advertising? Like you've
Um,
been at it for 20 to 25 years, right? So, like, did it take time for you to be a manager, or like a lot of time, or was it just 2 3 years of work and then you are good at your work?
See, I'll tell you what, I mean, the qualities as such, right? So, in any career for that matter, it has to be plotted against, if career has to be plotted against two variables. On one axis, you will have skill, and another axis, you will have will. So, it has to be a combination of skill and will for you to shine in any profession. Very interestingly in advertising, I have seen people with just the will, without the skill, surviving and doing well. Also in advertising, people with skill and without the will, because they are so skilled and they are so creatively blessed, they also survive. They also do extremely well. And of course, people with will and skill, they also have done well. But at the same time, I have seen that people with both skill and will have not even survived. They felt that this is not their industry. So advertising is a very a unique sort of a space, which actually, mostly if you have the will and if you do not have the skill, you can do very well, because skill is something which you can pick, but will is something which you need to inherently possess. And as three qualities, I would probably say that you should be curious. I think that is one important aspect you need to have when you're advertising. You need to be always curious and inquisitive. Keep asking those questions. That is, I think, very important. And the second important character you should have is being brave, because we are in the business of selling ideas. So your idea has to be unique. If it is unique, there will be a lot of questions. You will never know if it will work. There's no template which you're following. So you should be brave enough to trust your ideas and actually be brave enough to sell those ideas. So I think you should be extremely brave when you're in this industry. And the third one is you need to be prepared to put in the hard yards. Without hard work, this industry is going to kill you. Without you having to be prepared for putting in about 12 to 16 hours of work every day, holidays or whatever, it's going to be really tough. So I think these are the three major traits you should have. That's a survival kit for advertising.
Correct. So, sir, since you talked about hard work, so how do you ensure that work credit is given to everybody who has worked in your team? Like, we have heard so, like, we haven't yet been in an office, but we have heard so many things that your work credit is stolen away or something like that. So, how do you ensure that your work credit is not like one employee's work credit is not stolen away by another one?
See, I think it's also a matter of culture of any organization, right? So it has to come top down. Is my strong feeling. You need to actually, as a leader, as a member of the leadership team, you should ensure that the culture of recognition flows from top to bottom. So when you are as a leader, you actually ensure that the culture of recognizing people's good work and acknowledging people's good work and rewarding good work, either through award or reward, is important. So I think culturally you should be good enough so that and totally it's up to the organization and the leadership team to ensure that the culture percolates from top to down. So I think it's important that as an organization you foster this culture.
Correct, sir. So, like as you said, that people are really creative and you brainstorm new ideas. So, how do you maintain teamwork and team understanding as a manager? Like, you might have, like, people might have come up with different creative ideas, and all of them must be suitable for it. So, how do you, like, you know, maintain the teamwork? Feel okay, this one is nice, so we'll use yours sometime other day, something like that.
Yeah, so then it's a balance of custodianship as well as being democratic. So there will be one person or a set of people who will be the custodian of a project. Like when you are having a client brief, so there will be one person who will be the lead on the brief, who's supposed to deliver the solution to the client. So there is a balance between the person who takes charge and drives it, and also a democratization wherein he or she as an individual brings together people from different functional expertise to put together those ideas. There may be people from the digital team who are coming in for a television brief to give ideas. So likewise, somebody who's from an offline medium who's specializing in planning on television, print, and radio offline medium. So they coming and actually contributing to something which is going to be on digital, like a digital content that needs to be made for a brief. So that individual is responsible, but at the same time, that individual will have to necessarily involve people from different cross-functional expertise to actually deliver on the brief. So how good this person is in terms of bringing different expertise and how the person can actually distill a lot of these ideas which are coming in and put together a solution makes that person special. So everybody cannot be like a superstar in advertising. So, but some superstars, people become superstars in advertising because not because they are intellectually superior or they are creatively superior. Mostly because they've been able to bring together cross-functional expertise in providing a solution to the client.
Okay, sir. So, like, so as we know, marketing and advertising is one of the really stressed field job, as people say. How do you handle your stress personally?
Yeah, stress is absolutely, stress is something something which is inevitable in the field of advertising and even the field of marketing. Demanding deadline. Suddenly, the client will wake up and say, "I want it tomorrow." Tomorrow is when actually you have applied for leave when you are going on holiday with the family. So people say that soldier. There's never a holiday for a soldier, or
Correct.
there is never a holiday for a doctor. But I think it also is applicable for people in advertising. So there is always a lot of stress when it involves advertising and field of advertising, because there's nothing like a right solution in advertising. What you feel is creatively beautiful, maybe extremely extremely bad or suffocating for the client. The client will say, "This is not what I want." So there's nothing like a right solution in advertising. So you're always constantly provoking yourself to come up with those solutions. That makes it extremely difficult. So even when you've put in the effort, when you've like worked hard, everybody's involved. When you're going and delivering a solution to the client, you're not sure actually, if the client is going to like it or not. Ultimately, it's going to be what the client actually has in mind. So it's going to be stressful. So what generally, my way of managing stress is, um, following some of your passion points, right? Apart from your profession. So your passion point can be like outdoors, going on treks, or like somebody would love writing. Though I'm in advertising and I'm writing all the time, but I'm writing for money. But there are times when you want to write for your passion, right? For what your heart feels like wanting to do. So photography, so those kind of things, like some people would want to make short films, right? Or that is something which you need to definitely take time out to do. So there is this 80-20 policy of if you have a certain hour in the day where you are going to be awake, 80% of the time goes into work and at least 20% of the time goes into your passion. So that's something which you need to strictly follow. I know there are times when you are going to be extremely tired and you just want to like crash and sleep. And sleeping, I mean, giving yourself time to actually recuperate in terms of having that 6 hours to 8 hours of sleep, or whatever people call as revenge sleep. That is also very important. Actually, that's something which you need to do. Two things. One is about finding your passion point and then committing to it and being sincere about that. Your heart wants it and you pursuing it and committing to it. That is one. And two is you need to be restless in terms of acquiring a new skill all the time, probably a language skill or coding skill, or even photography is a skill. Something which you do not know, you should actually figure out something which you do not know and keep trying to acquire those skills. These are the two things which you do to de-stress. And of course, spend time with your family. Spend, I mean, see, ultimately, family is going to be your big support system, family and friends.
Correct.
So give and take from your family. Give love and take love from your family. And when I'm talking about family and friends, it's just not about giving love. You should also be prepared and brave enough to take love from them when you need it. So that is going to be another stress buster.
Okay, sir. So, like, what is the one, like, did you face any difficult situation, like, as a manager? Or there must be a time when your client didn't like your ideas, maybe one time, two time, three times. Like, it must be continuous. So, like, how did you handle that situation?
Okay, let me answer this in two parts. One is, some difficult situation which I have probably endured. See, I mean, of course, in the last 20, 25 years, so many ups and downs. So I would have had a lot of challenges which I need to face. But nothing has come close to what we faced in 2020 when the pandemic hit the industry. Yeah, so all of us were going through a bad time. The economy was in a bad shape, and then for some reason we also had to let go of people who we were working with, right, for what many years. Some really talented people we had to let go for the long term survival. So that was definitely tough. So letting go of people who we have worked with, who we had our backs, who we were defending, and they were also defending us when we were actually going through a tough situation. So letting go of people was always tough, but then we were able to also, find some solution in terms of getting them on temporary basis, and also figuring out places where we could place them apart from our companies, and also get some people freelancing work. So a lot of things which we were able to simultaneously do. So that was one of the tough situations we had to endure. And what was the second part of the question you asked me?
How did you handle that? The situation was the question.
No, that was one, and then yeah, the
Sometimes clients don't agree on.
Yeah, yeah. So I see. I think it's going to be really heartbreaking when you are in situations where client do not agree with your ideas. Most of the times they do not agree with your ideas because of budget, right? So we would have thought about something which will require some sort of an investment which is beyond their means. Mostly that, or probably because of logistics. Like that particular solution would require different types of creatives, and within that time frame, they will not have the talent even within their system to deliver on those requirements. So there are reasons for them to not agree to an idea. So I think while we have belief in what we have presented, but we also being open to why a certain idea is getting turned down, being open to it and accepting it, is I think the key. That also is a learning for you, because the next time around you are going to tick all those boxes. We know, if you're going to present this idea, then what are those 3 4 questions which are going to come up that will actually make the idea not work. So you have those questions, have those answers, and then you package it and sell it to the client. So that's part of the learning.
So what is your best experience as a manager? Like, what do you like about being an advertising manager the most?
See, actually, recognition is something which everybody loves. Being like, voted as the best office to work, best boss to work, and some work which you have done, being selected for industry awards and we winning awards for those efforts. I think those are the things which are going to be extremely motivating. That's what is motivating as well for me. We were out of the group and so many different offices. Chennai office was voted as one of the offices, as the office people were the happiest. So that was something which I always cherish. And we launched a lot of brands like the Big Billion Day campaign, which we launched for Flipkart, or the Britannia turnaround campaign, which we did for Good Day. HDFC Life. Actually, even before Make My Trip, Clear Trip, all those online travel portals came into being. Cox and Kings launched easygo.com in Bombay. I being a part of that campaign was another. Well, nobody knows about that brand, but in 2006 they launched it when online travel was not known. And me being a part of it, and me trying to figure out who the audience will be for an online portal and trying to target them with our advertising was a unique challenge. So those are the things which are cherishable. But I think the most important thing, like I said, is the team being recognized as one of the best, and your office being recognized as one of the happiest place for people to come and work, and also the clients recognizing that we are the trusted partner and they would want to keep working with us. These are the things which are extremely motivating.
So as you mentioned that you lost a client and you were not able to convince a client. So how do you maintain your work? Like, how do you ensure that your work doesn't affect your personal life? Like the work that you mentioned doesn't affect your personal life.
Say that again. Actually, your voice is cracking. Do you say something like if you lose a client, or how will you bounce back? Is that your question?
So I said, like as you just said, you lost a client. So how do you like you must be like how do you ensure that your work life doesn't affect your personal life?
So yeah, see, actually, it's like I said, the lines are always blurred in advertising. So you are always most of the times carrying work from office to home and home to office. It's generally you're not. It's never like you're not working. That's one issue with advertising. Because you're watching TV with your family and suddenly the advertisement which you have worked is on TV and you start talking about it and people start talking about it. So, and then suddenly the work which you have done is on radios when you're driving. So, so those kind of things keep happening. So it's never like you're off work. So even when you're like walking into a store buying some stuff like a shampoo for your house, you're looking at other people and figuring out why somebody is picking that particular bottle from the shelf. What is making them pick that up? And so you're trying to figure out audience insight in wherever you're going and what are you doing. So it's really tough. But like I said, right, you should consciously make time for getting that work-life balance. It's extremely important. It's no point. You should understand that it is a long haul, right? You're going to be working for another 35 years, 40 years, and you're going to be in a business for about 35 to 40 years. So burning yourself out and giving everything in the first 2 years and 3 years and trying to figure out who you are and getting into an existential crisis for the next 30 years is not going to work out for you. So you should definitely understand that it is a long haul. Conserve your energy, and conserving your energy is definitely trying to find time for doing your personal stuff, um, by finding time for your friends and family. So that is going to be extremely important. So that 20% of the time, 20% of the time, you should not compromise at all.
So coming to the last question, uh, like if a person wants to build his her career in advertising, what advice would you give to them?
What? Sorry.
If a student wants to build his career in advertising, what advice would you give to them?
So actually, those are the soft traits which I spoke about. Always be curious, always be inquisitive, be brave, be strong enough to put forth your ideas, and believe in yourself, and also be prepared to do hard work. Those are the soft skills which you definitely should have. Apart from that, I think you should also, as you go along, try to figure out different aspects of advertising and media, because advertising is just not about writing a copy, or coming up with a design. It's not that. Advertising is a huge field, right? It's a huge field comprising of data analytics, design, copy, visual communication, digital marketing, different mediums, how you can use in terms of planning and buying mediums, measurement of how effective your communication has been. So there is a whole lot of space which is there in advertising. So as you go along, you should also understand the width and depth of what advertising as a profession is. Figure out where your strengths are in terms of your skill, your aptitude, and then map it to it. Somebody can be not so creatively. So talk about this right brain and left brain, right? Right brain is about being creative, and left brain is about being analytical and stuff like that. Somebody who's left brain will be good in mathematics, and right brain will be good in art. I mean, largely. So you need to figure out uh, if you're a right brain or a left brain, and figure out what you will be good at. And say, for example, if you are going to be good at data and analytics, you can be a data scientist in the field of advertising, mining consumer insights, doing measurements. So many interesting things can be done. If you think you are good with numbers, managing a lot of data in terms of planning and stuff like that, in terms of finances and things like that, you can be in planning and buying of media. And if you think that, of course, if you're good in communication, writing, written communication, or if you're good in articulating stuff, so then you can be in design, right? In design copy. So I think it's completely up to you in terms of where your aptitude is, and mapping it to the vast field of advertising that it is, and um, and building on your skills. Nowadays, you have so many different courses. Of course, Mica is another place where you can hone your skills. If you want to be in advertising, they have different courses, different spaces in advertising media. You can specialize. Of course, there are these new age online educational portals which have come up, like your An Academy, and what are these options which are there. So you pick up those and just start building on your skills. Figure out what you would want to do. Like social media is another place, right? Social media marketing is another place where you would want to hone your skills. That itself is a specialization. So all this comes under marketing, communication, and advertising. So you need to just figure out what your aptitude is and build your skills.
All right, so thank you so much. So our interview ends here. I, we have also prepared an appreciation certificate for you, and I'd like to show you that. Ankita, would you want to speak?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for giving us chance to interview you. Sir, I am unable to open my camera because of some network issues. I am
That's okay.
struggling
That's
to
okay.
open the.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Because we all sometimes suffer from bandwidth issues. Luckily, the network has been
Yes, sir.
kind today.
Yes,
So
sir. That's amazing, sir. I think we learned a lot from you, even in this short time. So, sir, on the behalf of the Rai Foundation, we have a small token of love for you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for the appreciation. Thank you for the acknowledgement. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I would like to add, this is KVJ Dr. Sumitra Prasad here on behalf of the entire. Thank you very much, and this is one of the rarest interviews that I have barged in, but then this is very special for me as well, because it's important for a person to be involved on a professional level, doing a lot of activities, taking on, carrying the baton of professional corporate life, but also a very important role that you play in supporting the entire operations and being the man and the soul behind the Dorai-Foundation's activities. So I think many of us, many of the students, the youngsters, and everybody, they are not aware of this. So I wanted to bring this in the limelight, that no matter how busy you are in your professional life, everybody wants to make rozi roti ke liye har ek din jaddojahat karta hai, and this has also been your view, Mr. Prasad. But having said that, how important has it been, and what kind of balancing act you do between your professional life and supporting, and very honestly, I would say the kind of outreach program that the Dorai-Foundation does, and you have been behind it continuously. So if you can shed some light upon that, because it's important for everybody to know that you might be a corporate person, you might be busy earning money, salary for your family, but the social commitment can also be taken up whatever mini way that you can do. So if you can shed some light upon this, I think it will be very essential for the youngsters. Thank you very much.
Okay, so of course, it's
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for joining us.
so it's I mean, of course, it would be probably, we would be spending the whole of this evening if we will have to get into talking about all that Sumitra has been doing, and also, how I as a person could support her in doing things. See, basically, what I would say is, I think there's a question which was asked before, about, how you're going to get a balance between your work and your personal life, right? So I was talking about how you need to pick up those passion points and use at least 20% of your time in investing in those passion points. It could be, I suggested that it could be like, of course, building a skill, or it could be just a passion like photography, or like trekking, or whatever. But what I had done personally is also, as one of the passion points, giving some sort of an expression for the goodness we feel in our hearts, right? So I think you should as youngsters, you should have being good as a default setting. Being good should not be a matter of choice. So you should just know that, anything and everything comes only after, you know that you have done the right thing. You have been good to yourself, to your family, to your friends, to the society, to the country, to the planet you live in, right? So that should be your default setting, and anything and everything you do should come after that. And I'm sorry to be rhetorical. It has to be a default setting, and it should not be a matter of choice. I am doing this good because, I found some time to do it. It should not be that. That's a choice you're making. It's not a choice. You just need to do good because that is very basic. I think that is mandatory. So when you know that, you should be doing good, you will find a way of giving expression to all that you feel inside. And one of those things could be like, you going and teaching an underprivileged, or taking up relief work and providing food for people, for the needy, or taking care of stray animals, or it can be anything and everything, or you can be the voice for people who are marginalized. There's so many things in this world that that requires you to attend to and put your efforts in. So just be good, right? And in the trappings of being a professional and running this corporate race, don't cease to be good. And when I'm talking about good, I'm talking about good for all, right? Good for yourself. Be good to yourself. Take time out to take care of yourself. Good. Take time out to take care of your family. That is very, very important. Take time out to be good to your friends. Don't expect, I mean, so it should not be also, somewhere it has to be unconditional as well. Because if you think that I'm doing something good and so I return good I'm expecting something good in return, may not happen all the time. It has to be unconditional. So you being good is not going to be dependent on other people being good or doing something nice to you. Right? So be good to you, good to your family, good to your friends, good to your community, good to your country, good to your planet. So that's how goodness percolates.
Thank you so much. I mean, this was a very important question, and I think that's why I decided to barge in the last moment. And this was a statement: don't cease to be good. That should be the default condition in within you. And the image that we always have, try and do some social good for the greater good. मेरे पास वक्त नहीं है, मैं बिजी हूँ, मेरा काम है, I am so tied up, I have lot of pending work, my God, backlog is there, and my work is more important. All these excuses that time and again people make. I am already in my company and doing CSR, so I will not do this. And I'm already doing good for my servant who is coming in my house or my servant's children I'm helping, so I will not help outside. The kind of excuse that most people have in the corporate sector, people who work, please remember that there is always time. All you need is the inclination to do something, to make a difference, to be a good person, not just for the world around you, but to prove yourself to be a good human being. And with this, I think we can say, and I proudly say, Karamveer Jyoti, Dr. Sumitra Prasad, thank you very much, sir, for being such an important person in my life. I always say that you are the lifeline. Log mujhe dekhte hain, and people say there's so much of work that you have done. There's a room full of awards and felicitations. I guess I would not have been able to do all this, achieve so much in my life, if not for having someone like you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.